Hello, everybody, and welcome to session 19. Oh my God, we are so close to the last time. Today, we are with Zeeshan, and there is an amazing, life-changing book, Think and Grow Rich. I have one of the latest editions of this book. This, this is one of the best books ever in the market, and majority of people have read this. I don't know how many copies are sold. Do you have any idea how many copies of this book is sold?
No, not really.
Okay. Oh, it's over 15 million. Over 15 million. That's crazy. And the number is going up. Perfect. Oh, and this was like 2015 edition. So, my God. So the
How many
number is
copies
just
were sold?
going
Do you
up.
have any idea how?
Amazing. Okay, Zeeshan, before we get to the book, just tell us about yourself once again, and then we go to the book, and we'll talk about Think and Grow Rich.
Okay, awesome. So thanks everyone who has joined us today, and also for those who are watching on Facebook. So my name is Zeeshan Reza. I'm a certified emotion code practitioner. I do body code as well, and I'm a partner with Subconscious Release Technique. Basically, what I do is I help people get out of their mind, and a lot of people come to me and they say they're stuck in some part of their life, whether it's finances, relationship, or health. So I have a very set process where I take them through a 30-day process and help them get from where they are to where they want to reach. And there's a program, there's group coaching, there's one-on-one session, there's a lot of stuff that I do with my clients. So today I'm pretty excited. I'm going to talk about this book, Think and Grow Rich. And there's one thing I want to say before I start talking about this book is that a lot of people have read this book and they haven't gotten the results, and they've kind of almost like started to discount it. And they almost like make fun of the fact when we say think and grow rich, they say, yeah, if it was this easy, everyone would be successful, everyone would be rich and all that stuff. And that's very unfortunate. So I want to, if you have heard these things, or if you feel like, man, this doesn't make any sense, just hang in here today with us. And just I'm not going to be able to cover everything which is in the book because it's almost impossible. Like I tried to cover, I was making notes, and I said, no man, I didn't even go through half. I was probably able to go through 40% of it, and I ran out of time. I said, no, I cannot cover this. So I highly recommend, after today's presentation, go and read the book. And what I like to do is I don't only share what's in the book, I share how I have applied it in my own personal life. So this is, just so you know, this book was written by Napoleon Hill after meeting 25,000 people. So this is not theory. This is not like stuff from the air. And every presentation that I have done in the past 4 weeks, I've always emphasized this is real, true stuff. It works in real life. We have applied in our lives. All you have to do is follow the process and be consistent. That's where a lot of people don't get results. So whatever I'm sharing is practical, it's real, it works today as well. It worked many years ago when Napoleon Hill wrote. He took 25 years of his life to do this research, and he didn't get any financial compensation during those 25 years. So keep in mind, he was just researching, talking to very successful people of his time. And now it completed, and people now know about it, and he became financially successful afterwards. So there was a lot of time and energy went into it. It's real, it works, it's not fiction. So keep that in mind. The as just like I said, think and grow rich, it literally works, but you have to follow the process. So I'll just jump right into it. Okay, so the first thing is, he gives an example, and I'll paraphrase the story basically. And this is the story of Mr. Barnes, who wanted to be a partner with Edison. Now everybody knows Edison. Not many people know about Barnes. Barnes was a really poor guy at that time. He didn't even have money to ride the train to reach Mr. Edison. He didn't have the skill or knowledge. Nobody knew him. And so, but somehow he jumped on a cargo train because he didn't have money for the ticket for the passenger train, and he arrived at Edison's office, and he met him, and he said, I want to be partner with you. Okay, now imagine Edison, who is a well-known scientist, very, very successful, and this poor guy comes, nobody knows, and he says, I want to be partner with you. So Edison didn't say anything to him, but he saw something in his vision, in his energy. So Edison said, okay, you know what? You can work with me as an employee in a minimum wage kind of thing, and there is some stuff that you can help me with. So there started the journey. Now, why this story is shared here is because Mr. Barnes had a vision, a real desire to be partner with Edison. And he said, no matter what happens, I'm going to make it happen. That's the principle number one. So if you were on the call the week before, we were talking about a burning desire. That concept of burning desire comes from Napoleon Hill's book. So Mr. Edison saw that burning desire in Barnes' eye, but Barnes knew that one day he's going to be a partner with Edison. He didn't know when. Remember, we were saying when we set a goal, we try not to put deadlines because we don't know when the universe, when God is going to make it happen. We just have to stay true to our desire. So he worked with him. Barnes worked with Edison for a couple of, I don't know how many years. He was still minimum wage. He was just a normal employee. There was no concept of partnership or anything. And then Edison came up with this idea of a machine which he wanted to sell. And none of his salespeople were convinced that it will sell. They tried, nobody got any success. But Barnes said, hey, Edison, I can try and sell it. I believe in the item, I believe in the machine, I can help you sell it. And he said, okay, you know what, anyways, nobody is selling it, go try it, it doesn't matter. So he went and he sold so many that Edison appointed Barnes as the national distributor for that machine. So it used to say produced by Edison and installed by Barnes. And that's where the partnership came in. Now it took a number of years. Barnes had to, wait for a couple of years for this opportunity to show up. But what's the idea? The idea is Barnes, a really poor guy who didn't even have money to go on passenger train, had a dream, had a desire, a really strong one, that I want to be partners with Edison. That's all he knew. That's all he wanted. And he continued, he stayed true to his vision, to his dream. He overcame whatever obstacles came in. There was no concept of plan B. He just continued to work there, and one day the opportunity showed up. And the other thing which is interesting, which Napoleon Hill mentions in his book, and you would have seen in your life as well, is that sometimes we have a desire or a goal that we want to happen, and we want it to happen in a certain way, and another opportunity shows up, and we almost always neglect it or ignore it because we are in our mind think, no, how is this going to make this happen? But that's where Barnes was different. He wasn't offered directly a partnership opportunity by Edison, but he saw an opportunity that if I'm able to sell this and show my skill set to Edison, he might make me a partner, right? And so that's where important thing to notice is that where are you in your life? Do you have a burning desire that you're working towards? Is there an opportunity right now in your life that you're sitting on? Think about it, that you are not acting on, or you are not maybe acting on with 100% full energy because you think, I don't think this is going to take me where I want to go. This is exactly what happens with 90% of the people who read this kind of books. They know they have the knowledge, but they think they know everything, and they want to have the full path in front of them before they take any action. And that's where we have to differentiate ourselves. So if you have an opportunity right now, think about it. Do you have an opportunity right now that you're sitting on right now that you're not taking action on? Maybe somebody said, hey, can you do this? Maybe somebody has offered you to be a part of something, and you haven't really taken any action on it because you don't see where it will lead you, right? Maybe if you feel like doing it, do it anyways. You never know what doors can open from there, what it might lead to. It might actually lead you to the direction you finally eventually want to go. So that is really number one thing that you can take away from there. So you have a burning desire. I'm sure you all have some goal, at least one goal. Everybody has one goal at least, right? But oftentimes we want to have it happen in the way we want to have it happen. So if you have a burning desire, think what opportunity you might be sitting on. And this is he also introduces an idea which is called failure consciousness versus success consciousness. Now, what does it mean? A lot of people are, if you tell them, hey, can we do this? They will say, I don't think this is possible. It's too difficult. You know, COVID is out there. Who is going to buy stuff from me? Circumstances are not right. Nobody is spending money. All of those things. When you hear all of those things, that is failure consciousness. Me and you, if we talk about talk about anything like that, that means we are more conscious of failing than succeeding. So instead of using those words, and Napoleon in fact says that he bought a dictionary and he clipped out the word impossible from the dictionary because he didn't want it in his life. So it's like a very physical way of doing it, that I am literally removing this word from my life, right? So similarly, if you have some ideas and but you think maybe it's you're a business owner, or maybe you're an employee or whatever. I have two examples, okay? So let's say you're an employee and you feel that maybe my job is in threat, or maybe there's my company is not making any money. How can they give me a promotion or an increment right now, or something else which is for sort of a progress in your employment, but you don't feel it's possible right now because of what's happening around us, because of where the environment is. Okay, so that if you are thinking like that, beware that you are operating with a failure consciousness, and you need to change it. And don't think about why the failure consciousness is justified, because your mind will always justify why things will not work for you. And similarly, if you switch your mind to success consciousness, you will be able to justify why you would be able to get this thing that you're looking for. So let's say you're looking for promotion right now. Nobody is even thinking about progressing in the job, but herein lies an opportunity. Can you do something for your company which can help them acquire more business, create more streams of revenue, do something, cost reduction? Is there something that you can do? Get out of your job description that has been defined for you and see, can I do something for my company which can make them more profitable? Because right now that's the biggest challenge: generating cash flows, making companies profitable, and all those things. Because if you are able to come up with any ideas, and it doesn't have to be 100% practical, it's the fact of thinking outside the box and bringing those ideas to your superiors, even the president of the company. I mean, who knows? And then seeing what happens. You never know what it will generate, but at least now you're thinking in a different way. So that is success consciousness. Success consciousness is when you flip your mind, and so if you're a business owner and you're launching some products and you are hesitant to launch it because you think, man, nobody has money right now, people are losing jobs, all that kind of stuff. So you are not launching those products, or you're not launching those services. But if you flip your mind and see, hey, the governments are providing a lot of financial assistance to people. People do have money. Maybe if I present it in a way that will align them with their life's goals, and now that they have money, they will be interested in and willing to invest in my programs. Maybe if I offer an installment plan, they will be interested. So you start thinking in a very different direction. Now you are now becoming what he calls success conscious. So there is a big difference, and it's more about self-awareness. Am I aware the way I'm thinking? So the times I use words like it's not possible, it's not going to happen, then I know I'm in failure consciousness. And I have to stop myself and say, hey, I'm going in the wrong direction. I need to shift it to become success conscious. And when you become success conscious, then you start getting results for yourself as well. Okay. If anyone has any questions or anything, please feel free to type it in the chat box. Okay. Okay, so he gives another example. So now we are going through the book as he has laid down some of the principles. So we talked about having a burning desire, not giving up on it, looking for opportunities when they show up, taking action on them, and instead of having a failure consciousness, having a success consciousness. And then he talks about something which is quite interesting. So he gives an example. He says that when Ford, so everybody knows Ford company, such a big company. Everybody knows Henry Ford. How did Henry Ford become so successful? So he had an idea. He wanted an 8-cylinder gas engine in one piece, and this thing didn't exist at that time. He had a company; they were producing some cars. So he gathered a lot of engineers and made a team of engineers and told them, "This is what I want to be done." And they said, it's not possible. He said, okay, go ahead and do it. And he walked away because this is how Mr. Ford was. And so for 6 months, they were working, these employees were working on this thing, trying to make it happen, trying to make it happen. After 6 months, Mr. Ford goes and says, hey, so how much progress have you guys made? They said, Mr. Ford, it's not possible to do it. He said, well, keep going, keep working on it. I will have it. And so another 6 months passed, and these employees were employed by Mr. Ford. So the only option they had was to quit. So they said, anyways, we are getting paid to do this work. Why not keep trying, keep trying, keep trying? Even after 1 year, Ford goes to them and asks them what is the progress, and they say the same thing. It's not possible. It cannot be done. And he says, I want it. I'll have it. And just within a few weeks after this, something by as if by the stroke of magic, they were able to figure it out. They were able to create this eight-cylinder gas engine in one piece, and that's where Ford's fortune started to come in because nobody had ever done it. Now, here's the thing, right? Think about this. He didn't know anything about engineering. He didn't know anything about how to put it together. He knew he had an idea that it can be done. He didn't know how. He just had a vision, right? This is same with many people who have created things in this life that we use, like the phone that we use when we are able to communicate with each other without even now the wires are not even used, right? All of those ideas were just an idea for somebody. So Napoleon Hill shares this as an example. When we have an idea and we cannot see how this will come to fruition, we don't really have to have all the knowledge. Again, we just have to believe that it's possible, it's doable, and we have to have a real true obsession that it is going to come to reality one way or the other. I just don't see how right now, but I know deep within me that it is going to come true. I often, give an example. A lot of people start a business while they were employed, and in the back of their mind, the idea is, you know what? If it doesn't work out, I always have my job, right? Or and I was same. Okay, so when I quit my job in the beginning, this was my thought process as well. At least for the 6 months, I was always checking the positions that were open in the industry and all that while working on my business. And Will Smith says it very well. He says there is no reason to have plan B because it'll distract you from plan A, right? What's the point of having plan B? Because then you're not focused on your plan A. And it's the same thing. Burn your ships. If you have decided to do something, then be 100% committed to doing it, no matter what obstacles come in, no matter where you're going, no matter how many things you have to, in fact, let go. Of course, not relationship, but I'm talking about the hardships that show up for you in, or me, right? For us that show up. So I have a burning desire to build something, let's say a business empire. And I have all these struggles coming in. This is just part of the journey. And my end goal, that's what I need to focus on. Similarly, if you're an employee and you're working in a company and you have a desire to become a partner in that company, be true to your desire. Think about it. And even if you have competition in the company and you might find people who are more competent than you and people who know more stuff about you, these things are seriously of no significance, because the most significant thing is how important it is for you. How committed are you to your goal? Because once you are 100% committed, then you will have those ideas that will make you shine in your company, that will put spotlight on you. And there is no way that people can, put you down, maybe temporarily, but that is temporary. You will get to your goal. So keeping that in mind, there is no point in having plan B. And I've never believed in plan B myself because, I've seen it when I was working with plan B in my head, then I wasn't getting anywhere. Same thing happens when people, migrate to Canada and they have this idea. I have seen a lot of people who have gone back and they said, hey, I couldn't, and, I'm not judging here, but I've seen a lot of people say, hey, I couldn't adjust to Canada. But the reason, what I know is, because I know them personally, is that they always had this in mind that if it doesn't work out, I can always go back and get my job back. I can always make more money in that country, or whatever the case may be, right? So if you're operating with that mindset that I have something else, if this doesn't work out, then you're not 100% committed and you're not going to be able to get the result that you want. So forget about plan B. Focus on plan A, and that is the only thing that you want to focus on. That's how you get results, and that's how what Napoleon Hill calls desire or consuming obsession. Like you're so obsessed with it that that's all you think about, and that's all I want to happen, and that is what I'm working on towards all the time. Then there is, so now we talked about, see, so we talked about success consciousness and failure consciousness. There is another consciousness he talks about, and which is money consciousness. Okay, and I'm going to give a little bit of clarification also on that. But first, let me explain or describe what money consciousness is. Is that mind has become so thoroughly saturated with the desire for money that one can see oneself already in possession of it. Now, what does it mean, money consciousness? It's not greed. Okay, so understand the difference. Money consciousness is you feel that you already have it, and it's not only about lip service. You literally are in that energy of abundance all the time. You are already feeling you already have it, and you don't have to worry about anything. Things are going to work out for you. Now, two things I want to clarify here. One, as I said, it's not greed. So what is greed? Greed is when one is working only towards money, right? So there is a difference here. Look at money as a vehicle to acquire something. And in my previous discussions, I had mentioned that you don't really need to have money if you have a certain goal. But let's say money is your goal, because money does make life easier for all of us. So let's say money is your goal. So look at money and say, imagine you already have whatever amount you think that will help you, but attaching that to a goal, let's say a car, a house, or family vacation, or whatever, your business expansion, putting amounts around those. This is why I need money, this is the purpose. So attaching purpose to money and then becoming money consciousness makes it much easier for it to show up, because you have an end goal. This is what I want to do with this money, this is how I'm going to spend it, how I'm going to invest it, what I'm going. So one is that, so you're not greedy. Your mind is not greedy money for the sake of money. Because I'll tell you one example. There is a really, I came across this Marisa Peer, who is a really, she's a famous hypnotist, and she met a guy who was a multi-millionaire, and she was doing a session with him, and the session was basically that he always felt it's not enough. He's a multi-millionaire, right? And so she said, "Why do you feel it's not enough?" And his response for, "It's never enough. You always have to make." So he was in that mindset of like, it's never enough. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about money consciousness, that you want money for the sake of something, but you want to have that money in your life. And money is a means to an end. So that takes you out of greed. You're not greedy about money, you are having a purpose for it. And the second thing, again, some people say, hey, isn't this worshiping money? It's not. Again, you're not using money for the sake, you don't need money for the sake of money, because things can show up in your life even when you don't have money. But you want money to be, feel secure, feel safe, get things done in your life. And so all those things come under the umbrella of money consciousness. It's important to understand the difference, because a lot of people, yesterday only, again, I was on a call with somebody, and this was a group call, and this person is saying, yeah, and so as government is offering some grants and stuff, and so there's 40,000 available for business owners, all that, and she's working with somebody to get 10,000, and the group was saying, hey, you can get 40,000, and she's saying, no, but I can get 10,000, I'm happy with that, but you can get 40,000 and invest in your business. So there was this resistance that I don't want any more. I can see it, I could see it because I work with money all the time, but that's what I'm saying. Allow yourself to receive more. If somebody is offering you more, it's okay. Allow yourself to receive more. There is nothing wrong with it, as long as you have a purpose for it, as long as you're conscious that, yeah, I'm using it for something. And if it makes it easier for you, then fix a percentage of your earnings that you give to charity every month. And you can have start with 1%, 5%, 10%. Some people find it easier if they fix a percentage to pay themselves first. I've seen this also works with some people. Some people find it easier that if they allocate 5 or 10% of their income for the month, and they put it in their own account, and that way they say, I'm helping myself first. Or some people find charity easier. So whatever works for you. But what I'm saying is, improving your relationship with money will help you create money consciousness. The energy of money will become easier for you. It will be easier for you to receive. It will be easier for you to give. Because that's the other part where people struggle often. It's easy for them to receive money. When the time comes to pay bills or pay for services, they cringe, right? So there is this, I don't want to let it go, because there's this mindset that I'm not going to get more back, and so that money gets stuck again. So anyway, so money consciousness is extremely important if you want to allow money to show up in your life. Again, I haven't seen any questions, but if anyone has any questions, comments, anything, please feel free to post it in the chat box. Um, Hopefully everything has been clear so far. And so the next thing that he touches upon is dreams. And a lot of us grow up. When we are growing up, we watch Disney movies or things like that, and we dream of a life where we will have things and the stuff like that. And then as we grow up, we see this reality that has been described to us, and we say, no, life is not fairy tales, life is very tough, and all that stuff starts creeping in from all the places. And then we stop dreaming, and we start discounting our own dreams, things that we thought about, that how our life will be when we were 7 years old. We stop thinking about it. We say, no, it's not possible, it's not going to happen for me, it doesn't happen, this is just in movies and other stuff. We stop dreaming. But guess what? All the inventions, all the discoveries that people have done in this world have come from dreams. And when I say dreams, it doesn't literally mean when you're sleeping, it means when you are imagining how life can be. So if you remember when we were doing the book Creative Visualization, and we talked about creating this life of your desires and starting with a blank slate, that's what dreams are, right? If you had no limitations of money, time, health, whatever limitations you have, so you are looking at a blank slate, your life is a blank slate, you have been given the paints and you've been asked, hey, create whatever you want to create. That's what dreams are. And that keeps your life very interesting, because yes, challenges will come up and all those things, but if you have dreams and you're true to your desire dreams, and you see, yeah, one day it's going to happen, I don't know when, I don't know how, but it is going to happen, so I'm just going to keep dreaming. So for me personally, I have always been a big fan of Walt Disney movies, and primarily because they allow you, they encourage you to dream. They encourage you to dream about things that are not possible today. Right now, you think about those things, it doesn't make any sense. But it encourages you to dream about your own dream life. And I'm a big fan of those things, because that allows you to think outside the box. So if you have a problem, you will imagine, how can this thing be solved, is it even possible? And I personally think that is the reason why I was able to heal myself, because when doctors were telling me, hey, you have to go through surgery and medicine, and you have to go through all these things, because I had my mind from the beginning that there is always another way, and I could dream of me being healthy without going through all of those surgical procedures and everything. I just believed in my dream, and the things started to show up, and I was able to heal myself. So dreaming and believing in your dreams, no matter where your life is right now, might be hard. You might have gone through some hard, tough experiences in your life that might have, shattered your belief in your dreams. Go back, because I'm telling you, right now, life can become tough. It's okay, but don't give up on your dreams. That just makes your dreams even bigger. It makes it even more possible, because now you've gone through that tough time. You have a bigger, you should look at your life and say, hey, if I was able to go through that successfully, and now I have arrived at this point in my life, maybe I can actually reach my dream. Maybe that dream can be even bigger than what I dreamt of in the beginning. So um yeah,
They're
this is
taking notes.
so
People are
many
taking.
things we call those were in fiction, and this became a
So
living
what,
legend.
what one comment was, if possible, explain a bit slower so that they take notes. If at any point it's possible
Yeah,
for you, because I
thank
know
you
some
for
of them are
stopping me.
taking notes. Me too.
Yeah, no, thank you for stopping me. I do have this habit. I get very excited and then start speaking really fast. Okay, so let me answer this question about fiction, right? So fiction is good. Why it don't, okay, so it's fiction. So what? It allows me to dream bigger. Yes, it's fiction, it's on the cinema, everything is fiction. But okay, so here is the question. When you watch a movie and you see a sad scene, do you feel sad? And when you watch a movie and you feel something with that, where the hero or heroine is happy, do you feel happy? And I know you do. Then where is fiction? Because for your mind, it believes that. That's why it's making you feel happy or sad. So there is no such thing as fiction as far as I'm concerned. If your mind is believing it, it's true. If you close your eyes and you dream of something really big, a big house, a big car, a good relationship, a healthy body, and it makes you feel good, for your mind, it doesn't really matter, right? So we have talked about visualization in the past calls, and that's what I was saying. Your mind is a tool. Use it as such. So even if it's fiction, so what? I can feel the same feelings that the actor is feeling on the cinema screen or on the TV screen. That is not fiction anymore. I enjoy the endings of Walt Disney movies because it makes me feel happy. So for me, it's not fiction anymore, right? I am feeling those emotions as at the end of the Shrek movie, so I'm happy. So anyway, so I hope, I mean, I know it's a limiting belief, it can be, but have a almost like having a conversation with your mind. Okay, so if it's fiction, then why do I feel good, right? Almost like having a conversation with yourself and asking you, and then there will be no response, I'm sure, because there is no response to that. If you feel good,
Mhm.
it makes you feel good. It's not fiction anymore.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right. And actually, she is with you. What she writes is confirming what you say, because in childhood, kids are being told that no, this is not real, this is not real, that is not real, don't think. And
mm,
unfortunately, we go to school and they tell us we have to do this and that. There are lots of do's and don'ts, and
mm,
that kills the creativity and imagination. And one time, we decide not to imagine anymore, not to be happy, not to be excited, not to think out of the box. And we just want to be like other people around us. And
yes.
that becomes limiting for everybody, for everybody. And but we have to come out of that, because success doesn't come unless we change our energy level and mental state. And by imagination, what Zeeshan has covered before and also today, we get into a new set, a new mindset, a new um, kind of mental state, and that energy and mental state can help us get going.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you're right. I mean, so many times when we are being I know somebody, and again, I'm not saying as a judgment, but they don't allow their kids to watch Walt Disney movies because they say this is creating a fairy tale story, right? Maybe, but that child, when they grow up, they will be able to imagine things. I mean, I always encourage my kids to write fiction, read fiction, watch fiction movies as much as possible, because especially in the first 7 years, if they believe that anything is possible, then that is the belief system they are, being raised on. And when they grow up, yes, they will have challenges in their life. Doesn't mean they will not. But when those challenges show up, they will be more open to creating solutions for themselves, right? And even like my younger one does some talk sometimes, and she talks about those things because we have always raised our children with that mindset that anything is possible and you can always find solution to anything. And so I want to share the story Napoleon Hill shares about his son. And he says when he was born, the child was born, he was deaf and dumb, so he couldn't hear and he couldn't speak, right? So when the doctor, it was some surgery that he had to go through, and the doctor said basically he will never be able to hear or see, hear or speak. And Napoleon Hill never believed it. He said, I challenged doctor's opinion. And he said, my burning desire was that my child would be able to hear and speak one day. I didn't know how, I didn't know when. I just believed in this every single time. So he didn't let his son learn the sign language. He took him through the normal schooling and everything. So when the child was like growing up, and one of those toys where now those toys are not allowed in Canada, but it's a walker kind of thing when the child is learning to walk the first time, and they put in that so that they don't fall or anything. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Anyway, so Napoleon Hill's son was bought that toy, and in that toy there was this music. Okay, so the child has never been able to hear anything, and then suddenly the music plays, and the child got really excited as if he could hear it. And so Napoleon says he focused on it, what was happening, and the child had his feet attached to the toy where the sound was coming from. And he was this his Napoleon's son was able to hear through the bones. Can you imagine? Through the bones. So when he realized it, Napoleon said, "Okay, so my son can hear through his bones somehow. His normal ears are not working, but because Napoleon never accepted the idea, right? He always had this burning desire. He said, "Okay, so now I have a clue to build on." And so he started doing research on it. Where are those devices created where people can hear through their bones? And for 18 years, they would receive these devices and they would test them and they wouldn't work. His son was kind of getting, Dad, why do you keep doing this? It's not going to work, sort of thing. And then one day, Napoleon describes that his son was almost 18 now, and they received this device. The parents were somewhere else. Napoleon and his wife were somewhere else. The son was somewhere else. And he opened the device. He put the battery in, and he put this thing on his ears, and he could hear as a normal person. And the first thing he did was call Napoleon and his mom. He said, "I can hear." And so, I mean, because his Napoleon always believed that he could, you know, his son always believed he could, because we transfer our beliefs to our children. And then when he was able to hear, he was so excited. He wrote a letter to the company who created that device and said, "Hey, I'm so excited. I've been waiting for something like this, and I'm able to finally hear, and I would like to basically, congratulate you." So the manufacturers invited him to their factory. So now Napoleon's son goes to this factory. He's given the whole, what do you call it, almost like a, not a survey, but a tour of the factory. And he's amazed by the things that this manufacturer is doing. And he says, "You know what? Just like I have been able to hear after 18 years, there are millions of people who are not able to hear, and I want them to be able to enjoy same thing that I have been able to." So he goes back home, creates a 2-year plan, okay, and then brings it to the manufacturer. On the spot, the manufacturer hires him as the national distributor and marketer of that product, and then he spends the rest of his life to helping people learn how to speak, because now somebody hasn't been able to listen for 18 years. They don't know how to talk, right? So now they are able to hear. He's teaching them how to talk. He's holding classes all over America. Napoleon went to one of those classes, and he says, had I accepted that doctor's opinion, all of this would never have happened. So it's about believing in the possibility to the point where you literally completely deny, the other possibility. And Napoleon here is the best person to narrate a story like that. And he was able to get his son such an amazing, successful life because of the belief systems and the things that he believed in. So, I mean, so think about, where are you in your life where people have told you this is not possible for you? It could be health, it could be financial, especially when we start a new business, for example, and we have been working as an employee for some time, whether it's part-time or full-time. People will often tell you, why don't you stick to your job? It's, secure job, its income is coming in. And I'm not in any way discounting people who are employees. I'm just talking to business owners who have this challenge. I have gone through this challenge, so I know. And they don't know what it's about. The exhilaration of running your own business and finally being able to generate income on your own is completely different. So stay true to your desire and see where are those opportunities. And maybe there are some things that people have said to you, but you haven't believed in, or you have believed in, and that's why you've been holding yourself back, right? So remember Napoleon's example. 18 years it took, but it came true. His son was able to hear and speak like a normal person. That's amazing. And not through the normal ENT, right? It was through the bones. Can you even imagine that? So every time I read this story, it's so exciting. Do you think there is sweet spot for how much money is actually enough? I can elaborate on this if it's not clear. How much money is enough? There is no such number. What is it that you desire to use that money for, right? So there is no specific amount. So generally, they did a survey, and they said, if somebody has $30,000 in their bank account, they feel safe. So a lot of people connect money with safety and security. So if somebody has $30,000, this is like an average number. It might not be true for you. They say they feel safe and secure. So first of all, I would say, what makes you feel safe and secure? It would be a number for you, right? And secondly, then, as I said, attach a goal. So I know this guy. He runs membership websites, and he shared this story. He went to Africa, and he was looking at these schools. And this will answer your questions. He was surveying these schools, and these schools are for those children who cannot afford to be in school. So these are for poor kids. And he asked the principal, how much does it cost to get one child through the entire year? What is the fee? And he said it's $100. He said, okay. And that's when he had, his name is Stuart, the guy who created this, Stuart had this idea that if he creates something which pays him, which where the members pay $100 every month, he can support how many kids? So he attached an end goal to the money, right? And now he has sold millions of those programs, and he's supporting, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of kids in Africa. So how much money is enough for him? The more people he's supporting, the more money he needs, right? So your goal always expands. Similar. So normally this is the stages that I have seen people go through. Is first is your personal issues. So you have debt, maybe house, whatever makes you feel comfortable. Maybe you want to own 2 or 3 properties. Those are your personal desires. Once you reach that level of saturation, you will say, okay, so I have enough money that I've done everything that I wanted to do. What more do I need? And then you become more like, maybe I want to help some people who are struggling in this country or some other country financially or otherwise, and then you start expanding your goal. Now some people start that generosity right from the front. Like I was saying, you can connect 10% of your salary or business income to a charity. So how much money do you want? How many people are poor in this world? Millions, right? So you think that way. Or if you have a product and you want to help people with that product, how many people can benefit from that? Maybe you help people with anxiety, stress, whatever it is. Millions of people are going through stress and anxiety. So instead of thinking how much money, how many people's lives can I change? And then the money becomes a secondary factor. Yes, you need it to pay bills and for all those things, but primary goal becomes, okay, what is my goal? What do I want to do with this money? And then you keep just going on with that goals. You keep upgrading, right? So I hope you answered your question. Believing so strong is really not conscious and intentional action. Ali, I'm a little confused on this.
Okay. It's but believing so strong is really not conscious. Probably what she's referring to is believing is not conscious. It's something that the subconscious feels.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so. That's true. A lot of people have difficulty in believing, and so one of the things that Napoleon suggests in this book, and we have touched upon this in the previous as well, is affirmations. And I've suggested, I don't remember if I did the breathing exercise. Did a breathing exercise here?
In the first session, I think.
Okay. So affirmations are basically, and probably you guys already know, but affirmations are positive statements. Now, affirmations are very, very powerful. Okay. They work. And the only reason is that people are not consistent with them. What are affirmations? So there are many affirmations online if you search, but this is how I do it. If I'm looking for an affirmation, I go deep inside and see what is the negative belief. So if I have a belief that this cannot happen, I will flip that belief because that's not personal. Okay. And then I will use those words which resonate with me. So instead of saying I'm a multimillionaire, you will say, okay, so what is my belief about money? Okay, let's say, Sorosh, I take your example, and you have a belief that how much I need to have a certain amount of money, or I need to have enough money. So enough money is not going to be an affirmation. If I was in your position, I would use words like money flows in and out of my life easily and effortlessly. Now there is, this opens up the energy. Now there is no question of blocking a certain amount. Money flows in and out. Now when you say it, if you feel like a block or something like this doesn't feel right, then maybe you have some work needed to be done on those blocks or something, so when it comes to money or something, anything like that. So coming back to the belief system, our beliefs can be changed when we start believing in something else by saying it out loud every other time, continuously believing in it, attaching emotions to it, consistent basis. So me and Ali are part of this group where they have a document which is called Abundance Tracker. And Abundance Tracker is nothing but a set of affirmations that you do every day. You get up in the morning, you offer gratitude for a couple of things, 5 things, specific things that you are really grateful for. I kind of tweak it a little bit. So that's what I do. I get up in the morning, and before I start my work or check my phone, I'm grateful for, whatever blessings, and I identify them or really feel them in my heart. And every day I try to be grateful for something different. So that I'm already working on my belief system. If I have a belief system saying I don't have anything to be grateful for, already working on it in the first thing in the morning. Then I affirm a lot of things, like what I just shared. For example, money flows in and out of my life easily and effortlessly. When I used to say in the beginning, I used to feel like sort of a block. So because I work with different methodologies, subconscious release technique and all those, I started working with myself. Why am I feeling this block, and remove those blocks? But saying the affirmation really helps you to make that belief. And believe me, I've done it from 1st April to 31st May consistently, except one day I used to take a break. And in those 2 months, a lot of new things showed up for me. And all I was doing is I would affirm, and then if an opportunity shows up in the day, then I would take action on it without seeing where it will take me. Ali invited me to this book summit 4 weeks ago. It came after a month of affirmations that I was doing. This was just one. There were a couple of other things that showed up in my life. So if you have a belief that you feel that you don't believe that you will be able to get what you want, create affirmations about it and just say them with a strong emotion every single day consistently. Believe me, it works. It has worked in my life. It has worked in my clients' lives, and it will work for you. So that's one way of changing your belief about something. And we say the question of how much we want to own is how we want to live our life. Yeah, absolutely. That's how you create the life plan, right? And you can quantify, and you can see, okay. And the other thing I always say, when you're setting goals, first set goals. And if you remember last time we were doing this exercise, first set goals and then times them by 10. And you will feel scared when you do that the first time. So if it's 100,000, times it by 10, it becomes a million. You will feel fear, right? And that fear means you're going into an area which is not comfort zone for you. But here's the thing: you probably will not reach a million. You may, but you will at least reach 500,000, 200,000. You've already, surpassed your goal. So it's similarly, if it's a house and you come up with an idea, this is the kind of house I want, then times it by 10. If it's a car, if it's an Audi, make it R8. Just increase your goals in such a way that it almost sounds crazy to you, because it has to. That's what forces you out of your comfort zone and you get to the next level. Okay, so the next thing, which is very important and it's very applicable in today's time, this is again from Napoleon's book, is what he talks about specialized knowledge. And what is specialized knowledge is this. So you have a desire, a strong desire that you want something to happen. You have a certain idea of how you're going to make it happen. And I always say it doesn't have to be concrete, because how may come from different ways. But the other thing is specialized knowledge. So, and everybody on this call knows that a general practitioner or doctor gets paid much less than an eye surgeon or a heart surgeon. Why is that? Because they have a specialized knowledge of something. So similarly, if you have an idea of making something happen and you are really good at something, instead of having general knowledge about it, be very specialized in a certain area and make that happen, right? So it can be in any area. If you are a practitioner of some sort, identify, like these days, everybody talks about anxiety and stress. So you can become that expert who works on anxiety and stress. If you are a financial planner, I don't know, different people have different, and you become very specialized in a particular area, and that's where you become. It's called niching also. Find a niche. So there are people who are dog trainers, and then there are people who are dog trainers for single moms, for example, right? So that's what Napoleon talks about as well. He says, become really good with specialized knowledge, because that's what takes people to the next level. Always remember, general practitioner versus eye surgeon. You will always find that specialized knowledge is always paid for more. Has less clients, gets paid more, always, in all the areas. So Napoleon gives an example that Mr. Ford was asked to come because people said he doesn't have any general knowledge. And he was asked a few questions and he wasn't able to answer, like, who is the president of this country, or what is the square foot of United States, whatever. And after skipping like 5 or 6 questions, Henry Ford said, if I had to answer any of these stupid questions that you're asking, I have hundreds of people who are working in my company. I can press one button, call one person, and they will answer those questions. But this knowledge is not going to make money for me. So why should I know about this? And so he was very specialized in And this is, and this is not directly related from Napoleon's book, but I have seen this even in other successful people. They surround themselves with people who are very successful in specialized areas. They have a vision, and then they surround themselves with people who have. So even as, for example, if you're a business owner and you're trying to do your Facebook ads, your marketing, your online stuff, you're also trying to maybe let's say what else, accounting, and you're trying to do all of those areas. You're distributing your energy in different areas, you will have difficulty making your vision come true. So instead of doing that, staying true to your goal, which is whatever plan A is, and then as soon as you can, finding and hiring people who can do those things for you, so your energy is freed up, so you can focus on how do I make this thing happen. If it's a business, how do I take it to the second level? Even in organizations where people are employees and they have subordinates, this is a big problem of what they call giving or training their subordinates. A lot of people aren't able to do it because they feel that person cannot do this job as good as I can do. This is a big challenge for a lot of people who are employers, who are in senior positions. And but you have to keep in mind, you're at a higher level, management is paying you more money because you have some specialized knowledge or expertise. That's what they want to capitalize on, not you sitting and doing that basic nominal stuff which one of your staff can do. So delegating as a senior employee is an important thing. Again, comes from the idea of specialized knowledge. Surround yourself with people who are good at what they do, so that you can free up your time and energy to do what you want to do. And that's where your specialized knowledge shows up. So this is applicable to business owners as well as employees, and it goes in other areas of life as well. And in the same thought process, Napoleon talks about organizing knowledge as well. A lot of people have books, programs, especially these days. We are signing up for webinars, we are signing up for trainings, we are reading books. What are we doing with it? Are you doing something with it, or you're just reading, or you're just participating in calls like this where we are right now? Are you doing anything with it? Are you organizing? Are you coming up with a plan? Okay, this is what I want to do with it. That is what gives us results. Okay, so I'm going to stop here and I just want you to know, all of you guys who are watching it live here or on Facebook, I haven't even covered half of the book because there is a lot of material in this book. So this is not complete. I highly encourage you, go and read the book. And I'm going to quickly summarize what I've covered so that you can just review your ideas. And so we started talking about having a strong desire, right? And we talked about the story of Edison and Barnes, how Barnes became a partner with Edison. So having a strong desire, having no plan B, focusing on your plan A, continuously working on it, believing in it no matter what comes in the way. Then we talked about failure consciousness versus success consciousness, where your mind says it's not possible, it's not doable, whatever that means, you're failure conscious. Switching your mind, and you can only switch your mind yourself, nobody can do it for you, by being aware every single time that thought shows up and you say, hey, I'm failure consciousness, I'm operating with failure consciousness, I need to switch it. And as you do consistently, then you become in that, like it becomes almost like a habit. You don't even accept those thoughts coming into your mind. Even if they show up, you say, no, this is not the right way to think, and you start thinking in a different way. And then we talked about Mr. Ford's example of how he was able to get his 8-cylinder gas engine in one piece after a year. And all he said, I want it and I'll have it. And he had it, right? So being true to whatever you want to happen, whether it's you working on it or whether somebody is doing it for you. Then we talked about desire, which is like almost like consuming obsession. That's all you think about most of the time. Because even at the manifestation level, when we experience in our life what we most think about. We bring to our life experience what we think about most of the time. That's what is. And then we were talking about money consciousness, and we touched upon greed, how you can stay away from greed. You can always connect it to a goal. So money is a means to an end. So focus on how much money you want for that particular goal, and always keep upgrading, always, because otherwise life becomes boring. you need challenges. So it can be, okay, now I want to do this, I want to do this, keep increasing. It can be self, it can be your family and loved ones, it can be the world at large, but the goals always need to be expanded. Then we talk about dreams, why they are important, how to create your creativity, how to encourage yourself to think fiction, encourage yourself to watch fiction, because it does really open your mind to different possibilities. And then we talked about, Napoleon Hill's son and how he believed he will be able to share one day, and he was able to, because again, Napoleon never accepted the idea that it was impossible, and neither should you. Lastly, we talked about the specialized knowledge, how being an expert in one particular area really makes you the most sought after person in that particular niche, rather than being a general practitioner or general having general knowledge. So hopefully I've been able to serve, and I've been able to trigger some ideas in everybody's mind today. So if there are any questions, comments, anything, please go ahead and share them.
Awesome. I really enjoyed it. I
Thank
wish
you.
we had more time to cover the whole book, but this book requires so much of interpretation, examples, and everything. So I think everybody knows that. So we have to go through it. Maybe if we have the chance, we reconnect once again after we read the book one more time, and then we start discussing and talking about the applicability of it. Great. Do we have any other questions? We have a few minutes left.
So can I, there was one page which I kept for the end. It's just a small paragraph I want to read from the book. And this holds true, just know. And Napoleon Hill says, when riches begin to come, they come so quickly, in such great abundance, that one wonders where they have been hiding during all those lean years. And this is so, so true, because a lot of people are looking for evidence. I'm doing this, I'm not getting results. I'm doing this and I'm not getting but it's like planting a seed. You can't see the growth of the seed, you can't see the roots until the sprout shows up on the top of the soil, and then you see the result. It's the same with whatever you're working on. Keep working on consistently, no matter what. And as he says, when riches show up, you wonder where they were hiding all those years. It's amazing.
Amazing. Okay.
Can I add something?
Yeah, sure.
I just want to tell you, I really enjoyed the lecture of everyone, particularly you. And I am, do you remember you did a meditation a couple of weeks ago about the visualization?
Yeah.
I am currently doing those meditation every day in morning. So
Awesome.
thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's very good.
Thank you.
Awesome. That's good news. That's really good. Well, these books are great, and they become the greatest when we start exercising and practicing. Practice is everything. So whatever Zeeshan covered in these 4 sessions, it's all about getting into that mindset and energy level so that we change our belief system to get going, to move forward, to attract what we want in life. And well, knowing them in theory is good, but it's not that useful. We have to put it in practice. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. Awesome. All right. So we will have one more session, and that is tomorrow is session number 20 with Sina. Sina is going to talk about the 5 F words to manifesting your life. These are good F words that we can learn and we can apply in life. Awesome, Zeeshan. Is there any last word you want to share with us?
No, I think
last message.
Like you said, just go and take action on it. Just don't think this is a lecture. It's really practical experience from the book. I have been doing this personally. I have my clients who have gone through these things, and this is research based on 25,000 people. It's not theory. So applying it is the only way. And I always say there are only 2 options. You try it, and maybe it will not work, but maybe it will work. But how will you know unless you try, right?
True. Excellent. Okay. Thank you, Zeeshan, again, once
Purush has a
again
question.
for.
Purush has a question, I think.
Okay.
Let me just on my laptop.
Let's,
No, I just want
okay.
to say thank you.
Oh, he just wants to say thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Zeeshan, for all the work and all the emails that you're coordinating. Thank you so much. And I hope to see everybody tomorrow as well in our last session. That would be session number 20. All right. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
And
Bye.
enjoy the rest
Thank
of
you.
your
Bye.
day.
Thank
Goodbye,
you.
everybody.
Thank you all. Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Take care.